So you guys, everybody got chill. All right. Remember 152 for 0. That was less than 12 months ago. All right. We extended Shahid Afridi's career for an extra 3 years after he hit those twin sixes against Ashwin in the Asia Cup, right? We cannot do this common courtesy and give Babar another couple of years because he's still learning the chops. He just got the job in 2020. Welcome, any and everyone, to a vaguely familiar podcast. This is the Backward Point edition of the podcast, the World Cup edition of the Backward Point edition of the Vaguely Familiar podcast. My name is Nazar, and with me, as always, is my partner in crime and co-host, brother by blood and by spirit. Okay. My cricketing partner here, Bashaar Sayed. How you doing, buddy?
I could be better. I thought the loss against India on Sunday was pretty bad, and then we saw the game today. There's been three.
Before we get into it, I just wanted to give a brief intro. Vaguely Familiar Backward Point is a cricket podcast. We talk about cricket, but most importantly, we talk about Pakistan cricket through the lens of two Canadian brothers who are ethnically Pakistan. We reviewed the first Pakistan-India game, which you can find on our YouTube channel and Spotify and everywhere else you get podcasts. And today we are breaking down the second match of the World Cup for Pakistan versus Zimbabwe at Perth. And long story short, TLDR. Pakistan lost by 1 run against Zimbabwe. The match aired at 7 a.m. Our local time.
CST.
And I think we woke up around when the second innings was beginning, and we saw the horror story unfold in front of us, and it was just disaster.
I actually woke up at 7 a.m. I had an alarm for 7 a.m. I woke up. I checked what team Pakistan played. I really wanted them to add a fourth seamer really, really bad after what happened in the last game against India, and also considering the amount of bounce that the Perth pitch has.
Correct.
So I woke up and I saw, thank God, Babar added Wasim Jr. in the team. Because the reason why I was a bit scared that he might not add it is because in the past we've seen Babar is very reluctant in making any changes in the playing 11.
Very, very important point, because adding Wasim Jr. as the fourth seamer and taking out a batsman is a very non-Babar move, and I wonder how much the management / the coaching staff had to say for that decision. Like, I don't know if that's 100% a Babar Azam decision. I feel like it's a little bit manipulated. It's a little bit forcing his hand, or at least there was a lot of convincing going into that decision, which ultimately paid off, because guess what happened, man? Shaheen went for 3 for 40.
I think he went for 4 for 29.
No.
He went for 29 and 4 overs. No.
Are you sure? You want to check
I'm
that?
pretty sure.
Check that stat out? Okay. Well, we'll put it up on the screen.
We can check. Adding Wasim Jr. was a...
But like, that's what I'm saying.
Decision.
Like, yeah, it was a great decision because you got an extra bowler who he took 4 for 30 or something like that for 24. 4 for 24 and 4 overs, correct. Great spell. Well-contained spell.
Ball with good pace.
Good pace, over 140 is good landing and length. He got hit around the ground a little bit, but he never swayed. I just, with the Marvel universe and the comic books and everything, one always thinks about a multiverse, another universe where Mohammad Wasim was playing that India-Pakistan game. But I digress. Things would have been quite different in that last over. But again, I digress.
Yes. Why are you digressing? That's
because we're talking about Pakistan.
The problem is,
which is equally depressing.
We need to hold someone accountable. Pakistan was clearly a seamer short against India.
Correct.
So who is responsible for that? If you added a fourth seamer here, we definitely needed a fourth seamer against India. Yeah. And the result definitely could have been different. So whoever in the team was reading the pitch, they made a mistake. They didn't play Wasim Jr. and we had to play pay the cost. Because the other reason why it's so important, or the significance of a win or a loss against India, is last tournament we won against India and then we were unbeaten in the group stage. This tournament we lost the first game, even though it was a very tight game. It was just, any loss against India is very demoralizing, and especially in a game like that where you had the game in your hand up until the last even 8 balls,
I would say the last 4.
and then you just bottled it. So
Yeah.
losses like that hurt even more. It's hard to come back from.
I mean, we'll go. We just rewatched the highlights before the podcast, so we are a little bit fresh into what happened. With the with you good?
Yeah.
We are a little bit fresh with what happened in the game recently, but I just just this thought came into my head, and I just really want to get it out of the way. Is Babar Azam a choker?
Babar Azam, the player, there's no doubt. Babar Azam, the captain,
There's some doubt.
there's a lot of question marks. A lot of question marks. And it's not necessary that a great batsman necessarily has to be a great captain. We've seen in the past, Sachin was given the captaincy for India in the late 90s, and he wasn't that good of a captain. So
It didn't translate.
it didn't translate. So not to take away anything from Sachin's greatness, but
Always with the controversy, man. Why can't you just
Yeah.
have a podcast where you're just like sway away from the controversy? You always attract it, and then we get blasted in the comments for that.
I'm just saying. So yeah, a lot of tactical errors from Babar, number one. But I think the point that you're making is more about his own personal batting performances. I think it's about form. Babar, again, out of form. We saw him play one good innings against England.
I don't subscribe to that. I don't think he's out of form.
What do you think is the problem? Do you think
I
he's
think-
not well equipped for these pitches
No,
in
okay.
Australia?
Let me make an 8 Mile analogy for all you Eminem fans out there. You've seen 8 Mile. Was B Rabbit a bad rapper? No. Whenever he would come up on stage, he would choke. What happened at the end? It's the same B Rabbit. The whole movie takes place in like a couple of weeks. He comes back on the stage and he rips Papa Doc. Papa Doc gets burnt. Right? That's what it is. That's what it is.
I don't think Babar is a choker. Like,
I think he's choking.
The last World Cup, he was the highest run scorer.
But that's
The
my
last 50-over World Cup, he was the highest run
My
scorer for
point
Pakistan.
is, let's take the past 6 weeks. There is an unsurmountable pressure on him because of the middle order. And it didn't catch up to him for a while. It's caught up to him now. It's caught up to him. That's
I
plain as
have
simple.
thoughts about that. If Babar Azam is so concerned about the middle order, why doesn't he come one down?
Because would you want your best player? Would you, again, another basketball analogy. You want the ball in Kobe's hands as much as possible. You don't take Kobe off the bench. You don't start him from off the. You start him in the first 5.
Who's India's best player?
Virat Kohli.
Where does he bat?
Yo. Okay, argue.
So-
Okay, is Virat Kohli the best player? He wasn't
Hands down.
3 weeks ago.
Hands down.
Hey, listen to me. He wasn't 3 weeks ago. He just found his form in the past 3
So
weeks.
in the last 3 weeks, would you
And-
say Virat Kohli was choking, or was he out of form?
In the past 3 years, is Virat Kohli choking? Is the question. Tell me.
I don't think he was choking, man. He's given the performances in the big matches. So
I don't know, man.
coming
That's-
back to this game though.
No, I mean that's a conversation to have. Like I'm just saying, my whole thing is nobody's doubting Babar Azam's ability to bat. Nobody's doubting that if not already, or if he isn't already, then he will be the greatest Pakistani batsman to ever play the game. That's a fact.
There's not been many from Pakistan. So
But you can claim it. You can claim
for
it.
sure. Go ahead.
Right? We can
Yeah.
definitely put that label on him, and that's a big label to fill because you have Inzamam ul Haq, you have Muhammad Yusuf, you have the likes of Javed Miadad up there, whose records are already obliterated in his 7 to 8 years career, right? And he has at least 7 to 8 more to go, at least, maybe more. We don't know, but definitely there's something going on in the upper cranium or the upper chambers that is it's the split second thing, right? That's what Virat Kohli talks about all the time. You win this game in margin, in split seconds, right? Today he got off on a ball he thought was gonna swing in. It didn't. He caught the top edge, went flying to the point. He got caught out. right? This was actually quite a similar delivery or dismissal, I should say, to what Virat Kohli got in the 2017 final in Champions Trophy against Mohammad Amir. Quite reminiscent is what I thought when I saw that out. Um, was Virat Kohli on a bad streak? I don't know. Maybe he was there was some mental thing going on in his head as well, because that was the second ball he was facing right after he got dropped, right? So there is some correlation to the confidence level of Virat Kohli in 2017, 2018, when his form was dipping, coming back. He had a rough Australia tour right after that. Like there's definitely something there, which is similar to what Babar Azam is going through right now, which is he's like Atlas, the Greek Titan Atlas, who's lifting the weight of the world on his shoulders till eternity. Do you know the story?
Mm-hmm.
The song Coldplay's Atlas is also based by the Carry Your World. That's what it is. He feels like Atlas. He's the Atlas of the Pakistani team. And it's very evident that his form is being affected by that. Is the answer take the captaincy away? No. Did you take the captaincy away from Virat Kohli? No, you took it after 8 years. So all these, because I was I'm ranting right now, so let me finish. I'm gonna let you finish, Taylor. I'm gonna let you finish. Shout out, yay. Don't shout out. Yeah, don't shout out. Cut that. Edit that out. Babar Azam. I was on a space today, a Twitter space. That's on me. That's not on the Twitter space. That's on me for being on the Twitter space. And I have never seen, firstly, the most non-humorous, like people trying to make jokes that were just landing flat. One of the worst takes ever, right? In all of some of the worst takes I've ever heard in my life. And there was a call for removing Babar from captaincy and dropping him from the team. Now, again, this is my fault for being on that space, so I will take responsibility for it. But there was about 1,200 people there, and there was like senior journalists and people who write for Cricinfo and Wisden Cricket, and like Nazar was like, there was a lot of very high-profile cricket personalities and people in the cricketing universe there, and they were listening to this, and there was a conversation for half a day about kicking Babar out of the captaincy. You and I were just at a dinner. Shout out Share CC. And there was a conversation there about kicking Babar out of the captaincy. And I could not help myself to think of the magnitude of stupidity it takes to even question that.
Why?
Because
let me okay. Because
be the devil's advocate. I don't mind.
Pro kicking Babar out of captaincy.
All right, then let's have this podcast right now with the Zimbabwe. We'll break it down in a bit. We'll come to you, Zimbabwe. But my whole idea is, if Virat Kohli is having a rough England tour in 2014, you don't drop Virat Kohli as the captain. He's your best player. He will make blunders. He will make like errors that are just unforeseeable as well, because he's learning the chops. You're not born a captain. Imran Khan wasn't born a captain. All right. There were moments where he lacked captaincy. Like it's just a natural human error that occurs. Somebody was calling it a brain fart. Everybody has a brain fart. That's fine. Right. My whole point is, you invest in Babar as Babar has invested in these players, as he invested in Iftikhar, who came out and scored 31 ball 50. You do that. He's the captain for the next 3 years. He should be. You don't take it away if you have a bad year. This is the same guy that took you to the semifinals. This is the same guy that took you to the finals of the Asia Cup. This is the same guy who I prophesize on this podcast will take you to the semifinals of the World T20 in 2002 in Australia. So you guys, everybody gotta chill. All right. Remember 152 for 0. That was less than 12 months ago. All right. We extended Shahid Afridi's career for an extra 3 years after he hit those twin sixes against Ashwin in the Asia Cup. Right. We cannot do this common courtesy and give Babar another couple of years because he's still learning the chops. He just got the job in 2020. That's the end of my speech, guys. That was good. I feel like that was good.
There's been so much comparison between Virat Kohli and Babar Azam.
And there will be forever.
And I want to compare one more thing, is their captaincy. Virat Kohli captained India in the 2017 Champions Trophy final, the 2019 World Cup semi-final, and 2021 ICC World T20. he also captained RCB for I think 6 or 7 seasons, and they didn't win a single trophy. And I think it was at that point where BCCI was like, maybe this guy doesn't have what it takes to win tournaments. Maybe he can get him to the final, play good innings as a batsman, but maybe he doesn't have what it takes to cross the line, something that maybe MS Dhoni had. Babar Azam is on a similar trajectory. What you mentioned as his accolades are actually places where he needs to improve. Pakistan, he took Pakistan to the World Cup semifinal last year, 2021. Pakistan had Sri Lanka 90. Pakistan had Australia at 93 for 5, chasing 170.
I knew you were going to say
bottled that.
I knew you were going to say that.
Pakistan, Babar Azam took Pakistan to the Asia Cup final. We had Sri Lanka 53 for 5, and we let them score 180, 170, and we lost the match. Tri-series against England, Pakistan was up 3-2, and then we ended up losing 4-3. Babar Azam was captain of Karachi Kings, and they lost 8 straight matches, and they won the last 9th one. What I'm trying to say is maybe Babar...
You missed one more.
What's that?
India with 31 for 4.
Yeah, India with 31 for 4, and we let them chase down 160. Let them chase on 48 and 3
don't
overs.
talk to me like I don't know what the stats, all right?
Yeah, so
don't talk to me like I don't know the context of what you're trying, the hatred, the blasphemy as
and then to make this more relevant as to the Zimbabwe game, Pakistan needed 43 off 39 balls with 7 wickets in hand, and we lost that match. So there are some tactical errors. There is some captaincy flaws that Babar Azam is continuously making. The one that stands out to me the most is the one where Mohammad Nawaz has to bowl the last over against India in 2 matches within the span of 6 weeks. Like, you're making the same mistakes over and over again, making bad team selection, making bad planning by not having a fast bowling all-rounder on your team, knowing the World Cup is in Australia. So all these things are going against Babar Azam, the captain. And I think from what you're saying, the reason why his batting is not clicking is, yes, I think he is in a lot of pressure regarding the middle order. We did see a stat, and we mentioned that last episode, where Babar and Rizwan have been scoring Pakistan's 50% of runs. Pakistan's winning chances when they score a partnership of 25 or 50 increases drastically. So there is a lot of pressure on them to do well. I think that's probably taking most of the toll on them.
I also think it's taking the toll on Rizwan, man.
I think it's both of them, but I think because Rizwan and Babar, they're the same kind of players. And Babar Azam's average has actually decreased since he's been starting opening with Rizwan. Babar Azam's average before he was opening with Rizwan was 56. Ever since he started opening with Rizwan, his average dropped to 32.
Yeah.
Fact check me.
No, I don't need to.
So there is something happening, and then Babar Azam is also very stubborn. Like, I like the fact that he backs his players, but Heather Ali has been flopping the last 2-3 months. You're continuously backing him. There's been other players as well where he's just backing and there seems to be no substantial performances.
I'm glad you mentioned Heather Ali. I'm glad you mentioned him because there was another argument today at dinner. Share CC shout out, and Karai Boys Vaughn shout out. Sponsor us, please. There was an interesting conversation there, which I totally took offense to when somebody brought up Shoaib Malik's name, the one he who shall not be named, in the dressing room. They were like, and I'm gonna speak in Urdu. They were like, "Yaar, Malik ko na chahiye the team. Malik should have been in the team." And I almost like got up and left because I was like, "This, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this again. I cannot do this again, man." As soon as I have gained consciousness, Shoaib Malik has been playing cricket, and there has been moments and patches where he's been outstanding, but for the most part, he's been mediocre. All right, you can pick up his stats in Australia, and they're nothing to talk about.
Averages 13 in the Big Bash.
They're nothing to talk about, like I said, right? I would rather lose with Heather Ali than have Shoaib Malik in the middle order. I think that buck up your younger guys. Give them support. Give them the confidence. Heather Ali's a star act. He just went platinum in the PSL. I still don't think the PSL means anything, but he went platinum in the PSL.
He went platinum. That's him and his agent's choice. He hasn't been bought yet.
I'm just saying.
He's in the draft.
I'm just saying in the draft he's going platinum. Like
do you think someone's going to buy him?
I think he's
for
gonna get bought.
platinum. Heather Ali.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know when the draft's gonna happen, but
See, I don't really blame Heather as an individual. I blame more of the people who have selected him and who are playing him.
I will blame Heather as an individual.
No,
Did you see
I
him
don't
go out today?
I don't blame him because he's just 21 years old. So bowlers and batsmen are very different. If a bowler can bowl 145, 150, like Naseem shot, throw him into the team. Give him a test debut. Throw him in the deep end. He will learn and he will get better. As a bowler, if you have pace, you can manage your way out. As a batsman, you need to play a lot of first class cricket, learn how to score big runs, learn how to play in different scenarios. That's how you make good batsmen. Surya Kumar Yadav played for 5 to 6 seasons in the IPL. He played multiple first class matches. He has, I think, 10 or 15 centuries in first class cricket, so he knows how to make runs. He's a mature batsman. Haider Ali, I doubt he's been in certain scenarios where he is right now in the Pakistan team playing in a World Cup. The second thing about Haider Ali is that he's been with the team for the past 1 year, and he's been mostly on the bench. When you're on the bench, you're just practicing in the nets. You're lacking real life match practice. Um, Thirdly, I feel like Pakistan team is not doing justice with his talent because we're constantly shifting his numbers. He's playing one now in the England series. We're playing him at 4 against New Zealand. We're playing him at 5 against India and 6 today. So there's no clarity on what his role is. If I like Pakistan pick between Asif Ali and Haider Ali to be played in this game because we had to bring in Wasim Jr. and they preferred Haider Ali over Asif Ali, even though Asif was a bit more experienced in terms of World Cup matches and matches in Australia. So lots of questions to be asked regarding the team management and who's actually backing these players, who's selecting them. And that brings me to my next point, which is Shaheen Afridi. So
Sit him down.
so T20 cricket,
And
there's 3 phases, right? There's a power play, 1 to 6 overs. There's the middle overs, 7 to 15. There's the death overs, 16 to 30. You need to make impacts in all 3 phases of these games in order to win a match. Shaheen Afridi was the best bowler in Pakistan in the world because he used to take upfront wickets when he was fit. Um, he's just not running the same way. His actions not completing the same way. He's not getting the same swing. He doesn't have the same pace. Shaheen Afridi's pace in the last World Cup, his average pace was 140 clicks on average. This World Cup for the last 2 matches has been 134. Shaheen Afridi bowled about 40 plus deliveries that were 145. I doubt he's bowled even
Any
5
for the-
deliveries
any.
or any for that matter. So who is responsible for playing Shaheen Afridi, who the last game he played was in July in Sri Lanka where he got injured, and you're bringing him straight out of the UK where he's been doing his rehab and throwing him straight into the World Cup. As a fast bowler, you're lacking match practice, you're lacking rhythm, and you're throwing him into the deep end. That's not fair to Shaheen. I don't blame Shaheen. I blame who's playing Shaheen, right?
So-
A World Cup is not a place where you go to find rhythm. We have Mohammad Hasnain on the bench who's played the big bash, who can ball 145 plus, who can swing the ball up front. Why don't we go with a better option? Why do we need to risk Shaheen and Pakistan's chances in the World Cup?
Who's gonna be the man who's gonna tell Shaheen Afridi he can't play because he's unfit?
I think it has to be the captain.
Who-
The first ball he bowled against India, I saw him run in. I'm like, this guy is not fit. Who allowed him to play? Why are we putting Shaheen's fitness and Pakistan's chances at the World Cup? Like, why are we risking that? I get Shaheen is a big name against India, and India was definitely under pressure playing him, but it's just not worth it. We played without Shaheen in the Asia Cup. We played without Shaheen in the England series, and the boys, for the most part, they did step up. So, and also, I see Shaheen as one of Pakistan's future stars. So, if he already isn't one, so we need to safeguard him and protect the next 10 years of his career.
You raised some interesting points.
I did, and you know what? Let's get more specific to this Zimbabwe game.
Yeah, I was gonna
We-
come back. Are
we
we gonna talk about this game or not?
We stopped him at 130, and Perth is a difficult pitch because if you look at all the pitches in Australia, Perth has the most bounce ever. I felt like Pakistan didn't bowl the right lengths. Up front, Shaheen was looking for swing, which he didn't get, and he got smacked.
He
Zimbabwe
got smacked
Zimbabwe
bad.
took the charge to us. They were like almost 30 in 3 overs.
No, you know what it was? I don't even think they were taking the charge per se. They were just playing their shots. Like the boundaries that were that I forget the batsman's name, forgive me. But he got hit for 2 boundaries in the first over, Shaheen did, and the man didn't even finish his drive. He was just placing the
Check
ball.
shots, yeah.
Yeah, it was check shots. It's all they were. And a fit Shaheen would bring that ball in. That check shot would have hit the pad. We would have probably seen someone go down, right? But in a situation like this, where we have an unfit Shaheen, where the ball isn't swinging for the guy, he's bowling the right areas, but it's just going straight with the arm, he's gonna get hit for 4.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened.
And I think 130 is still a decent total to chase here. Like I would back Pakistan's
No,
team to
that was
defend it.
that was a total you chased at 18 overs, man. Don't give me that. That was not a decent.
Yo, I
total.
was thinking that Pakistan should look after their run rate. Like they should go for the chase in like 15 overs.
Yeah, that's what people were saying.
And when I saw the first over of Babar Azam batting, this man was missing drives by inches. Like there was
a white
daylight
gap.
between bat and ball. And I just don't think Pakistan or Babar Azam or even Rizwan for that part, they weren't ready for that sort of a bounce. And Zimbabwe balled great lengths, great line. They even got some swing up front. And they were able to get the 2 crucial wickets of Rizwan and Babar. And then Iftihar got a really unlucky snake off the legs.
A bad shot. No, that was not unlucky.
You play that shot instinctively. It just happens. Like, and sometimes you nick it for 4, sometimes you nick it to the keeper. Just one of those days where you nick it to the keeper.
Let's talk about the last over again, about a Pakistan match in the World Cup. Let's talk about it. Last over, Pakistan gets 11 off 6. We get a 3. We get a 4.
We get a single.
We get a single. We get a dot. We get an out. We get a single. Pakistan loses by 1 run. I thought, first things first here, we have to start giving Zimbabwe their credit. They had us cornered. They took the offense. They charged at us.
They fielded really well.
They fielded really well, and we just had we didn't have a response for it. So, got to shout out the baller who bowled the last over. Give me the name.
Sean Evans, I think. Something Evans.
Something Evans. Mr. Evans, great over. I think he was zooming in. He beat Nawaz twice. Nawaz had no idea what to do with it with the ball that he built and bowled. And then the next ball he got out. I just charged up on him. He didn't have anything to do with it. And the last ball that he bowled, Shaheen, was also a great one. So shout out to you guys, man. Great over for that and the Zimbabwe's perspective. As a Pakistani fan, as a Pakistani supporter, what could have we done different in those last 6 deliveries to chase down 11?
I just think we could have prevented the collapse. Like at the point where there was a point where we needed 43 off 39 balls with 7 wickets in hand.
Yeah.
Sean Masood and Shadab Khan were set. I think they should have taken the game a bit more deep instead of trying to counterattack. And I think if Shadab and Sean, they should have finished the match. It shouldn't have gone till the end where you need Wasim Jr. and Mohammad Nawaz to rescue you.
Is Wasim Jr. even is he an all-rounder? Or are we pushing that?
Allegedly.
Like, you know how Dhani was an all-rounder?
In the Asia Cup?
In the Asia Cup, sorry. Are we trying to do that? Or is he actually an all-rounder?
I don't think so. I'm yet to be convinced. I have heard he can bat, but it's more like slogs and just one-dimensional slogs off the front foot if the ball's full. I saw him get beat 4 balls in a row when the ball was a bit short outside of off stump.
I feel like Haris Rauf is a better all-rounder.
Naseem
Shah, Haris Rauf are better all-rounders than my boy here. Disappointing, heartbreaking, upsetting, nostalgic, and somehow PTSD.
I think
those were the words that I would use to describe this game.
This loss against Zimbabwe will go down as one of the biggest upsets in Pakistan's cricketing history, starting off from the first one we saw in the 1999 World Cup against Bangladesh, and then we saw the one in 2007 against Ireland, and this is up there with those upsets.
Definitely.
This loss against Zimbabwe.
Yeah. Somebody put Saklan on coach watch, because the last time we had a upset like this, we lost. Rest in peace, dear Bob Boomer. Somebody keep an eye on Saki, please.
What's the way forward? I'm hearing a lot of people.
I'll tell you the way forward. All right. So if India beats South Africa and Pakistan beat we're back at that point, man.
But do we deserve to qualify after the last two performances? We bottled both matches. Does a champion team, does a semifinal top 4 team do that? Like, do we deserve to even go through?
If that's your merit, then we should return the 1992 World Cup. If that's your merit to who wins the World Cup, or if it's deserving or not, that's not for us to say, buddy. That's for the fates to say. All right. And let me tell you what's going to happen. You ready for this? Let me give you a prophecy up on air right now. Okay. Pakistan will make it through to the semis. It's not a high probability that Pakistan cannot make it through. Pakistan will make it through to the semifinals. I say this today. What is the date today? On
28th.
No, let me do this.
27th.
Let me do this correctly. 28th October. Pakistan will make it through to the semifinals. It's not an uphill task. I think it was harder to make it through in 1992, and we managed to do that. Weather was supposed we were like, if that match gets rained out, we'll make it through. I don't remember which match it was exactly, but it did get rained out, and we made it through, and we won the semifinals, and we won the finals, and we have one 50-over trophy, and that's because of that World Cup. Pakistan will make it through here. Okay, don't get me wrong. It's just, what will it take?
Personally, I feel like I'm a big Pakistan supporter. I love Pakistan cricket. I bleed green. I want Pakistan to not qualify. I want Pakistan to not go through to the Super Fours. I hope they go back as a team and they can reflect and change the brand of cricket they want to play.
If they don't make it to the Super Fours, Babar is out as captain, right?
Someone's getting sacked. I feel like it's going to be Saki, because just to refresh everyone's memory, Saklan and the whole coaching system, this was the interim setup when Misbah and Babar left. So these are people who came on probation and they just stayed.
Yeah.
Right? So
shout out to my people on probation.
I think if Pakistan does get knocked out in the Super 12, we might see a Saki being sacked. I don't think Babar's really going anywhere. But yeah, I really hope Pakistan doesn't qualify. They don't go through. They should go back, change their game plan, reflect on the mistakes they've been constantly making, and plan for the way forward.
Last thing, if Pakistan make it to the semis and they go through, and let's say it's a miraculous turn of events, Pakistan wins this World T20, will you apologize on the podcast?
I will apologize. Yes, I will apologize. But I think I don't even think Pakistan's going to win against South Africa. They have a gun team, man. I really don't think that's happening.
All right. Last thing that the fans want to know is why you look so fly. This guy's looking fly. Damn. I think people just expect us to look good for the podcast. I just want to disclose this before we leave, that this guy takes 10 minutes to get ready for the podcast. Well, I just pull up from my room. This is my room right behind this wall. So
false.
You know what?
False news.
Contact him, Old Navy and Gap. This is where this guy shops. He will rep the brand on the podcast live. Anyways, closing thoughts. That's what you heard. My name is Nazar Sayed. I have my brother here, Bashaar Sayed. This is a cricket podcast called Backward Point under the Vaguely Familiar banner. We'll see you guys in the next match. When is it? When is the next match scheduled for Pakistan? Is it on Tuesday, Sunday, or Monday?
Soon.
We'll see you soon after Pakistan's next match, which will be a magnanimous win and a return to form, as I predicted. Until then, keep yourselves safe. Watch cricket. Enjoy it. The World Cup's fire. I cannot wait to see what other amazing matches come out of this World Cup. Ireland versus England. Just a quick shout out to that game. Was phenomenal to watch. Love an underdog story. That's what people are saying about this match as well for Zimbabwe. So that's definitely up there as one of those moments in this World Cup where we look back and be like, remember that? That was pretty cool. So yeah. Anyways, guys, please support us if you want. Like and subscribe. Share it with your friends. Start a conversation in the comments. If you agree with us, disagree with us, definitely let us hear it. If you want to support the podcast, do consider subscribing to our Patreon. We'll start uploading there soon as well. We're just finishing out dotting some I's and some T's and all that stuff, whatever that saying is. We're doing that as well. And if you want to, become a subscriber on Spotify as well, I think it's $2.99 a month. You can help the podcast become better so we can get more fake plants for our background. My name is Nazar again. You were listening to Vaguely Familiar. Speak to you soon. Cheers.